Hello everyone, John A.G. here. Welcome back to my channel, Aurex. If you haven't yet, subscribe to my channel. In this channel you will find the real information, real market updates that everyone cannot tells you. So please subscribe this channel, and love you all of my subscribers for your support. And please watch this video till the very end, because YouTube will not push my videos to more people and add many things related to this topic. I need you to stay with me for every single minute of this broadcast, because what I am about to share with you will fundamentally alter the way you view your savings, your future, and the very ground beneath your feet. Make this speech fully professional, emotional, with a human touch, and powerful. That is my promise to you today. Today is May 9th, 2026. I want you to remember where you are sitting right now. I want you to remember the device you are holding in your hand, the room you are in, and the people who are in your home. Remember this exact moment. Because today is the day the illusion finally shattered. Today is the day the numbers on our screens stopped meaning anything, and the cold, unyielding reality of physical assets took back the throne of global power. Today, a $450 billion gold default has just been declared, and the BRICS nations have initiated a total currency war shutdown. I want you to ask yourself this one critical question. What happens when the world's most trusted financial institutions simply say, "We don't have it"? What happens when the promises that built the modern Western world are revealed to be nothing more than ink on paper and digital ghosts floating in a server farm? For decades, we have lived in a financial matrix. We have been conditioned, almost brainwashed, into believing that the Western financial system was an immovable fortress of stability. We were told by the smartest people in the room, the Ivy League economists, the central bank governors, the politicians with their slick suits and teleprompters, that the derivatives market was perfectly safe. They told us that the paper gold market, the system where hundreds of paper contracts are traded for every one single ounce of actual physical gold sitting in a vault, was a marvel of modern liquidity. They sold us a lie wrapped in complexity. They engineered a system where wealth was no longer tied to sweat, labor, or tangible reality, but to the speed at which a computer could trade a promise it never intended to keep. But here is the secret the elites are terrified you will discover. Gravity always wins. Economic gravity is absolute. You can suspend it with money printing for a year, a decade, or even half a century, but eventually the bill comes due. This morning, before the sun even rose over Wall Street, that bill was presented. A major sovereign wealth fund, acting as a proxy for the unified BRICS Plus coalition, formally demanded the physical delivery of $450 billion worth of gold bullion from the COMEX and the London Bullion Market Association. They did not ask for a cash settlement. They did not want fiat currency premiums. They did not want treasury bonds. They demanded the physical metal, ton by ton, to be loaded onto cargo planes and flown to vaults in the East. And the Western banks blinked. They froze. They invoked force majeure. They defaulted. Listen closely, because the next 60 seconds of this video will redefine your financial future. When a system built entirely on trust suddenly breaks that trust, the collapse is not gradual. It is instantaneous. The moment the default was triggered, a coordinated, pre-planned protocol was activated across Moscow, Beijing, Riyadh, New Delhi, and Pretoria. The BRICS nations, now controlling over half of the world's population, the vast majority of its energy reserves, and the lion's share of its manufacturing capacity, declared a total embargo on the United States dollar and the euro for all tangible commodity trade. This is the Total Currency War Shutdown. It is not a theoretical white paper. It is a financial nuclear event. To understand the magnitude of this, we must travel back in time. We must understand the profound arrogance that led the West to this catastrophic precipice. In 1971, the United States severed the final link between the dollar and gold. They closed the gold window, telling the world that from that moment on, money would be backed by nothing but the full faith and credit of the government. For a while, it worked. Through military dominance and diplomatic maneuvering, the petrodollar was born. The world was forced to use Western paper to buy the energy it needed to survive. This gave the West an exorbitant privilege, the ability to print wealth out of thin air and export its inflation to the poorest nations on earth. But the world was watching. The East was learning. When the financial crisis of 2008 struck, the central banks did not fix the rot in the system. They papered over it with trillions of dollars in quantitative easing. They bailed out the reckless gamblers on Wall Street while millions of hardworking families lost their homes, their jobs, and their dignity. I remember the pain of that era. I know many of you watching this remember it too. You remember the sick feeling in your stomach as you watched your retirement accounts evaporate while the bankers paid themselves record bonuses. That was the moment the BRICS nations realized the Western system was a casino rigged against them. And so they began to prepare. While the West spent the last 2 decades funding endless wars, expanding bloated bureaucracies, and arguing over ideological trivialities, the East was quietly, methodically accumulating gold. They mined it, they bought it, and they refused to export it. They built alternative payment systems. They engineered the M-Bridge platform. They developed the BRICS unit. They created a parallel financial universe, completely immune to the weaponized SWIFT network and the sanctions of Washington. They waited for the perfect moment. They waited for Western debt to reach such astronomical, mathematically impossible levels that a single calculated strike would bring the entire debt supercycle crashing down. That strike was the $450 billion delivery demand. Let us strip away the emotion for a moment and look at the terrifying mathematical reality of what has just occurred. The Western financial system operates on a fractional reserve basis, not just in banking, but in commodity derivatives. The relationship between the circulating paper claims and the underlying physical asset has been stretched to breaking point. We can express the systemic fragility using a precise mathematical model. If we let MP represent the volume of paper derivatives, the money supply chasing the asset, V represent the velocity of those paper trades, and Q total represent the total physical gold in the vault, we can determine the true clearing price of the asset, PG dot, when a physical run occurs. As the quantity of delivered gold, Q delivered, approaches the total available physical supply, the formula dictates a catastrophic divergence. PG dot equals Q delivered, Q total, lim, Q total minus Q delivered, MP times V. As the denominator approaches zero, meaning the vault is effectively empty, the theoretical price of the physical asset approaches infinity, while the paper claims drop to their intrinsic value, zero. The COMEX and the LBMA realized this morning that executing the $450 billion delivery would empty the vaults entirely, leaving trillions of dollars in remaining paper contracts instantly worthless. They chose to default on the few to avoid instantly vaporizing the portfolios of the many. But in doing so, they have signaled to the entire planet that the emperor has no clothes. The paper wealth is a phantom. I want to pause here and speak to you heart to heart. I am not just a narrator reading off a teleprompter. I am a human being who cares deeply about the community we have built here on Aurex. Behind these massive figures, the billions, the trillions, the algorithms, and the geopolitical chess moves, are real people. Think about the human cost of a total currency war. Think about the single mother who has been working double shifts, saving her fading currency in a bank account that yields nothing, hoping to give her children a better life. Think about the elderly couple who worked 40 years on an assembly line, trusting that their pension fund, managed by Wall Street institutions heavily exposed to these defaulted derivatives, would carry them through their twilight years. What happens to them today? What happens when the grocery stores double their prices by tomorrow morning because the global supply chain refuses to accept our currency for wheat, for oil, for microchips? There is a profound, almost suffocating sadness in watching this unfold. We have been robbed. Humanity has been subjected to a stealth tax through inflation and currency debasement for generations, all to fund the reckless ambitions of a financial elite that believes it is above the laws of nature. They sat in their glass towers, drinking champagne, convinced that their complex mathematical models and high-frequency trading algorithms had somehow conquered the simple truth that you cannot print prosperity. They forgot that wealth must be produced, not legislated. But while there is sadness, there must also be fierce, unrelenting resolve. You cannot afford to be paralyzed by fear. The mainstream media, the very networks funded by the institutions that caused this crisis, will lie to you today. They will label this default a temporary liquidity mismatch. They will call the BRICS nations hostile actors engaging in financial terrorism. They will beg you to keep your money in the system, to trust the government, to remain calm while they quietly rush for the exits. Do not listen to them. You are watching Aurex because you are awake. You are here because you possess the intellectual courage to face the truth, no matter how terrifying it may be. The shutdown is already rippling through the global economy. As we speak, cargo ships carrying liquefied natural gas from the Middle East are being redirected. Freighters loaded with rare earth minerals from Asia are dropping anchor, refusing to unload their cargo in Western ports until payment is secured in physical gold or the new asset-backed BRICS currency framework. The arteries of global trade are seizing up. This is the brutal reality of a multipolar world asserting its dominance. The West has weaponized its currency for too long. When you freeze the sovereign reserves of nations you disagree with, when you kick them out of the global clearinghouses, you teach them how to survive without you. The BRICS nations have not just survived, they have built an impenetrable fortress. They hold the commodities, they hold the manufacturing base, and now they hold the physical gold. In a world where the financial system has collapsed, the people who hold tangible assets become the architects of the new era. If you are holding paper promises right now, you are holding the ashes of a dying empire. We must understand the psychology of the elite in this very moment. They are terrified. For the first time in modern history, they have lost control of the narrative. The $450 billion default is too massive to sweep under the rug. It is a gaping wound in the side of the global financial leviathan. Their immediate reaction will be authoritarian control. We will likely see emergency banking holidays. We will see capital controls, limiting your ability to withdraw your own money. We will see desperate attempts to implement central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, as a way to trap capital within the collapsing system, forcing you to absorb the hyperinflationary impact of their mistakes. They will demand absolute compliance, framing it as a matter of national security. But compliance in a corrupted system is financial suicide. You must act with the precision and ruthlessness of a sovereign entity. You are the central bank of your own family. Your primary mandate is not to save the global economy. It is to protect the people under your roof. How do we navigate this storm? How do we protect the fruits of our labor when the very definition of money is being rewritten overnight? First, you must detach yourself from the delusion of paper wealth. The stock market indices may soar to nominal record highs in the coming weeks as hyperinflation begins to take root, but it is an optical illusion. If a stock goes up 20% while the currency it is priced in loses 50% of its purchasing power, you are bleeding out while cheering for the bandage. You must look at wealth through the lens of purchasing power, not nominal fiat units. You need to anchor yourself to the physical world. The elites who are telling you to hold cash and bonds are quietly buying up farmland, fresh water rights, precious metals, and energy infrastructure. They are fleeing to the very assets they tell you are barbaric relics. Watch what they do, not what they say. Physical gold and silver have served as the ultimate extinguishers of debt for 5,000 years. They are not investments. They are financial insurance. They are outside the banking system. They carry no counterparty risk. When a bank defaults, your silver coin does not care. When a government collapses, your gold bar does not lose its luster. The BRICS nations understand this fundamental law of economics, which is why they drained the Western vaults. You must follow their lead on a micro level. Beyond precious metals, you must invest in your own independence. The global supply chain relies on the illusion of infinite cheap credit. That credit has just vanished. We will see shortages of basic goods, medicine, and food. You must become resilient, learn a tangible skill, build local networks, form alliances with your neighbors. The governments of the world will not save you. They will be too busy trying to save themselves. We are entering a period of immense volatility, but also immense opportunity. Every great crisis in human history has resulted in a massive transfer of wealth. Wealth is never truly destroyed. It merely changes hands. It moves from the ignorant to the informed. It moves from the heavily indebted to the unencumbered. It moves from the hands of those who trusted the paper illusions into the hands of those who held fast to tangible reality. I want to speak directly to the young people watching this. I know you feel like the future has been stolen from you. You have been burdened with unprecedented national debt, skyrocketing housing costs, and an economic system that feels entirely rigged against your success. You are right to be angry. But do not let that anger turn into despair. This collapse, this great default, is the clearing of the brush. It is a forest fire, sweeping away the dead wood of a corrupt system. Out of these ashes, a new, more honest system will have to be built. A system where money cannot be printed at will. A system where value is determined by production, not by political decree. You have the opportunity to be the founding fathers and mothers of this new economic paradigm. We must also critically examine the geopolitical fallout of this currency war shutdown. The BRICS Plus alliance has drawn a line in the sand, effectively isolating the Western Hemisphere. Nations that have historically straddled the fence, countries in South America, Southeast Asia, and Africa, will now be forced to choose a side. Will they align with the debt-laden, digitally constrained West, or will they join the commodity-rich, gold-backed East? The answer is obvious. We are about to witness the fastest geopolitical realignment in human history. The United States dollar, which has enjoyed the status of the global reserve currency for nearly a century, will be rapidly repatriated. Trillions of dollars that were held in foreign central banks as reserve assets will be dumped back onto the American shores, chasing a limited supply of domestic goods. This is the classic recipe for hyperinflation. It is the Weimar Republic. It is Zimbabwe. It is Venezuela. But this time, it is happening to the engine of the global economy. The arrogance of Western leadership has been their ultimate undoing. They truly believed that they could sanction the world's primary energy producers, freeze the reserves of nuclear-armed superpowers, and force the global South into perpetual economic subservience without any retaliation. They confused their ability to print currency with true power. True power is oil. True power is wheat. True power is gold. True power is the ability to produce the things that human beings need to survive. The BRICS nations have spent 20 years consolidating true power, while the West consolidated financial derivatives. Let this be a harsh but necessary awakening. The television pundits will try to comfort you. They will parade endless streams of experts across your screen, using complex jargon to explain away the $450 billion default. They will call it a temporary settlement delay or a strategic realignment of vault logistics. They will lie to your face because their survival depends on your continued ignorance. But you will not be deceived. You will stand firm. You will protect your family. You will secure your assets. You will refuse to participate in the panic because you have been preparing for this exact scenario. My commitment to you, as long as the internet remains open and I am able to broadcast, is to stand by your side. I will continue to dissect the lies. I will continue to analyze the data. I will continue to bring you the unfiltered, unvarnished truth about the global markets, the geopolitical shifts, and the moves you need to make to survive and thrive. This is the moment of maximum danger, but it is also the moment of maximum clarity. The veil has been lifted. The shadow games of the central planners have been exposed to the harsh light of a physical gold default. The contract economy is dead. The resource economy has violently reasserted its dominance. We are a community forged in the fire of truth. We do not panic, we prepare. We do not despair, we strategize. The road ahead will be difficult. There will be systemic shocks, market halts, and societal friction. The transition from a unipolar fiat world to a multipolar asset-backed world will be the most turbulent economic event since the Great Depression. But those who are awake, those who understand the math, the history, and the human psychology at play, will cross this bridge intact. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for seeking out the real information in a world drowning in deception. I love all of my subscribers for your unwavering support, your brilliant insights in the comments, and your dedication to the truth. Please, share this broadcast far and wide. Send it to anyone who will listen. YouTube's algorithms are designed to suppress this exact type of critical analysis, so I rely entirely on you, the Aurex community, to break through the digital censorship. I am John A.G. This is Aurex. Stay safe, stay sovereign, stay awake, and I will see you in the next update.